Hello everybody, welcome to this self-defense weapons video. I am not simply going to list a whole bunch of weapons that you can use for self-defense. This is not going to be some long-winded, boring, here is one weapon after another. Instead, what I'm going to do is explain what kinds of weapons that you should be considering using and what kind to avoid. So in a lot of ways, you could almost look at this more like a best self-defense weapons video. But first, please know that laws do vary state by state. What is legal in one state will get you thrown in prison in another. I am not a lawyer, and nothing in this video should be construed to mean that I am giving you legal advice. That said, let's talk about the obvious weapons. This first one is called a ASP, also known as a collapsible baton. This is a fantastic weapon in that it gives you extra reach, right? These things range anywhere from as little as 1 foot to a couple of feet long, which can keep your attacker at distance so they're not getting in close to you. Then there is the other obvious weapon is, of course, the knife. Right here in the picture, you can even see this little concealed carry sheath. This is, it's a knife, right? You cut somebody good enough, bad enough, they're probably going to leave you alone, right? However, both of these weapons have a problem. They look like weapons, and you may run into legal problems in a lot of states. The ASP, as an example, is actually illegal to own for regular citizens in most states, or not most states, but some states. California is a good example. I think it's possible that it's, Colorado. There's a few others where you're not, if you're a regular citizen, you're not in law enforcement, not in the military, you're not allowed to have one of those. Not only that, but because these look like weapons, it automatically means that things are going to escalate very, very quickly. You're not just going to be in a self-defense mode. You may actually end up in preserving your life mode. And in my opinion, women should avoid using them against a man, as often a man is strong and fast enough to simply take the thing from you. In other words, you have a knife, you have an ASP or a collapsible baton, whatever you want to call it, and one of these things come out, and now the guy simply charges you, and he's big enough, fast enough, strong enough, heavy enough, and now the weapon that you are using to defend yourself gets taken from you, and he's using it against you. That would be bad. I am a much bigger fan of weapons that don't look like weapons. This first thing that you're looking at is called a Kubotan. It is a simple steel rod, right? This one is called a tactical pen. It's just a pen, right? You pull one of these things out, nobody is going to think. In other words, if you're a woman and a guy is approaching you thinking, oh, I'm going to attack this woman, they're not going to think anything odd about you holding your keys, or you having a pen in your hand. Lots of people have pen in their hands, or a pen in your breast pocket or something like that. So some place where you can get at it very, very, very quickly should you need to. The reason why I like these is that they don't look like weapons. They give you a chance to defend yourself while your attacker is still calm and overconfident. In other words, one of these things in your hand and somebody isn't thinking, oh my gosh, she's got a pen in her hand, I better be careful. Or, oh my gosh, collapsible baton, I'm going to have to really rush. Or a knife, I'm going to have to really go at her hard, right? Pens are legal everywhere. And so are simple steel rods. They're only a few inches in length. That said, please remember what I said earlier. I'm not a lawyer. Laws vary state by state, blah, blah, blah. Okay? When it comes to self-defense, I'm a much bigger fan of things that don't look like weapons, right? Because if the longer an attacker can stay overconfident, the longer they don't realize that you have a weapon in your hand, the better. It gives you a much better chance to strike places that you want to strike, that give you a chance to get away without having to worry about being chased down and really hurt. In a lot of ways, all this stuff comes down to knowledge. Knowing where to strike for maximum quote-unquote benefit. As an example, striking pressure points. In other words, a Kubotan, which is only a few inches in length, isn't going to do you a whole lot of good if you're going to try and swing the thing like a baseball bat at his head. not only that, but being aware. I remember seeing someplace that most attackers will spend 70 to 80% of their time victim profiling, looking for people that are not aware of what's going on around them. So simply by being aware, you can avoid being attacked, and then there's readiness. In other words, it does you no good to have a Kubotan if it's in your purse, buried at the bottom of tons of other things, and you're going to have to go, oh, wait a minute, I know you want to attack me, but please let me fish in my purse and grab my keys. Or, a tactical pen's kind of the same thing. If it's in your purse, buried in with all kinds of other things, you need to be able to get at these things quick. You need to be ready to defend yourself should you need to. Very often, being able to defend yourself for just 30 seconds is enough because it allows you to raise enough ruckus, make enough noise that your attacker just plain and simply isn't going to feel that it's worth it. There are news stories all the time about even little kids who quote unquote fight off their attacker because they make enough noise, they're able to defend themselves for just long enough that even a full-grown man is thinking to themselves, this isn't worth it, I'm just going to get out of Dodge. If you would like to learn more, link is right there on your screen. I will give you a simple move that will make any man feel like he's been hit by a baseball bat, even if you're only 90 pounds. Really, really simple stuff. One simple thing that very often will make a guy just collapse right to his knees. There's another technique that I'll give you, a super, super simple spot that you can strike that will stop any man in his tracks. This is another, I call it a knee dropper, right? Neither one of these two things attack the groin. Men, by nature, reflexively defend that spot, and often without even consciously seeing an attack there. Most of the time, attacking a groin is a really bad thing because a slight hip twitch and suddenly you're missing. I am not a big fan of groin strikes for women unless you really, really, really know what you're doing and understand the situation and everything else. Most of the time, there are much better spots that you can be going after that are harder to move and cause every bit as much pain, or simply so much pain that you're still in a situation of you can still get away, cause enough ruckus. Like I said, you only need 30 seconds. Anyway, go check out that link, sign up. It's simply give the email address, start sending you multiple different techniques that you can use to defend yourself. And if you have any questions, feel free to reply to any email that we send, and we'll be happy to help.